In February of 2019, New York City lost out on its biggest deal to date as Amazon backed out of a deal to establish half of its famed HQ2 in Long Island, New York. The deal was projected to introduce at least 25,000 high-income jobs over time at a 4 million square foot facility. Over time, the project would generate upwards of $27 billion in tax revenue in addition to future investments in STEM education in schools and the local workforce. Why would Amazon back out of a deal so promising for the future of New York and its citizens? Because of the heated opposition from the locals throughout the area. You see, Amazon played the card any world-class monopoly would play. In 2017, they advertised HQ2 to the entire country to see what everyone was willing to sacrifice in order to get what the e-commerce juggernaut anteed up. Of the 238 bids they received, New York's counteroffer was special in that they wagered $3 billion in subsidies courtesy of the mayor of the city and the governor of the state. Once Amazon announced that it would accept New York's offer, citizens cried in outrage over the deal. $3 billion in taxpayer money will be given to arguably the last organization in the world that needs it. I mean, that's just pocket change to just their CEO, who at the time of writing is worth over $133 billion. Why should a company that wealthy be given a tax break? Why can't they pay full price like anyone else? If we let them open up shop, the city's natural roots will decay in favor of highly specialized, gentrifying millennials who will inevitably run up the cost of housing as real estate agents mouth water at the incoming high-wage earners who will need a place to stay. What sense does any of this make? Lawmakers and citizens began to organize to block Amazon's move to Long Island City. The pushback was too much heat for Amazon, ultimately forcing them to release this statement on February 14th about them canceling their plans to move to New York City. After much thought and deliberation, we've decided not to move forward with our plans to build a headquarters for Amazon in Long Island City. For Amazon, the commitment to build a new headquarters requires positive, collaborative relationships with state and local elected officials who will be supportive over the long term. While polls show that 70% of New Yorkers support our plans and investment, a number of state and local politicians have made it clear that they oppose our presence and will not work with us to build the type of relationships that are required to go forward with the project we and many others envisioned in Long Island City. Talk about a Valentine's Day breakup. Politicians took center stage calling out against Amazon for greed and their desire for conquest on the East Coast. Amazon would have received $897 million from the city's relocation and employment assistance program and $386 million from the industrial and commercial abatement program. It will receive an additional $505 million in a capital grant and $1.2 billion in Excelsior credits if job creation goals are met. That brings the total amount of public funds granted to just shy of $3 billion. In other words, the city and state will have bought Amazon jobs at a rate of $48,000 per hire. Does the concept of a state buying jobs from a private company not sound a little bit odd? Amazon is one of thousands of businesses that all share a common interest, and that's to make money. The tax breaks were exactly what they wanted. It was motivation behind the entire bidding war. Amazon got caught with their pants down under the assumption that everyone was on the same page, but clearly they weren't. But let's take a closer look at how Amazon's presence could have changed New York City. The aforementioned $3 billion in tax breaks isn't intended to be a cash transaction, but rather a discount, if you will. You see, those 25,000 high-wage earners have to pay New York City taxes just like any other New York City employee. Over 25 years, the tax figure was projected to hit as much as $27.5 billion. This would make a return just shy of tenfold, labeled by the governor as the highest rate of return for an economic incentive program the state has ever offered. Thing is, this is an all-or-nothing deal. So Amazon brings a value over $30 billion, but since New York can't get it all, the deal was broken. That $30 billion comes with 25,000 planned jobs, with which enough growth could produce a lot more. How many, you might ask? 30,000 total? 50,000 total? Try 107,000 jobs, direct and indirect, due to Amazon workers themselves, construction jobs to build facilities, commerce business, and contract positions like Amazon Flex. If that didn't sound like enough, Amazon also agreed to allocate $5 million for workforce development and host job training sessions at job fairs. They'll build a new school with as many as 600 seats on campus, along with what they call a tech startup incubator. Commentators argue that many New Yorkers overlook the facts and long-term gains for the city to bring new opportunities to those locally, and many for both women and people of color. They were convinced that allowing Amazon to establish themselves in New York City would open the floodgates, causing widespread displacement. New York City's poverty rate is much higher than the national average, sitting at 1.7 million people living below the poverty line. Perhaps those in favor didn't address the concerns of the local population appropriately. Maybe the opposition hadn't truly weighed the costs versus the returns. This begs the question, could an adjusted plan have been worked out to satisfy everyone's needs? What was there to gain from canceling the deal altogether? Whatever Amazon decides to do, let this be another lesson to everyone to seek to understand, then be understood.